I have a flag. I have a flag. We can all salute my flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, will the secretary verify our form?
Okay, roll call. William Crowley.
Here.
Tina Brown. Here. Jan Hedlund. Here. Janet Good.
here.
Terry Stevens. I'm here. Carl Meyer.
Here.
All form.
We're sitting in here.
Okay, I did mail the minutes to the members and read the minutes, and is there any, we approve as read, or is there any corrections?
I had a correction on February 21st that she's taken care of right now.
And the correction is?
That she had forgotten that Phil Fowler had spoken about the school and driving by and had given us a small handout, and she's adding that to the minutes.
William, is there any?
I was good with the minutes.
So we approve that the minutes of February 21st and as read on the 31st and 23rd.
Speak up, please, so somebody can hear.
So do we approve these minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes with the corrections.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The correspondence is here. We did get some letters, and from Mr. Fowler and Mrs. Stevens, and they're right here for everyone to look at them.
Are you gonna read the minutes
No.
from last meeting?
No.
Get approved? You spoke to.
We will have these minutes ready for the public next meeting.
How can you approve something if there's no discussion prior to? There may be some additions and deletions before you approve them from the
The
public.
public doesn't get to view the minutes.
They certainly do.
Okay, we're gonna go on. Next item on the agenda is announcements.
There was somebody who had her hand up because she had a speaker slip.
There is a speaker slip on the one flyer on the agenda item 3. I turned it in to you. I turned it in to Billy. Agenda item 3.
If not, we're going through the.
He's already passed that, and he's on correspondence and announcements, and my speaker slip is for 3.
Number 5.
No, number 3. Approval
Number
of minutes.
6
Look at the
is-
speaker slip. I marked it.
Yeah, I see it right here.
Number 3.
Are you gonna call on her?
Wait, just wait. Give him a second, so you can see what I have.
Number 3 is approval of minutes.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Brenda Wise, and I received a copy of the January 10 minutes from you, the approved minutes. And I have a correction under committee reports, the fuel break on the north side of Trail Peak. You put in here that it should be left to the fire department, and that Brenda Wise said anyone's welcome to attend the fire board meetings. That's incorrect information. It should be left to the Fire Safe Council, and anyone is welcome to attend the disaster meetings and the Fire Safe Council meetings. They're totally separate entities. The fire department and the Fire Safe Council are separate entities. And I'd like to correct it in the January 10th minutes.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
So noted. Okay.
I move that we make a motion to amend the correction.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Now we're going to go on to rules of order. Does everyone have the rules of order, or they're up there on the table? Or should I read them again?
No, we haven't.
I have a logistics
Yes.
question. I have a speaker slip, but I feel ill-prepared because I don't have an agenda. And so I don't know how I can fill out my speaker slip if I don't know what agenda item
That was, I did forget to bring, I brought a few agendas, but I did not bring all of them.
I can loan you mine if you like. I do have one that I printed offline. Off of Ray Lutz's website, he gets first.
And if there's anybody who want to take a little bit of time right now to look at the agenda, so they are all able to speak, like Christine, you're able to do this for a couple minutes.
And
And I have that.
Christine, that's handwritten on there. They wrote it on there, up on there. They hand wrote it on there, so I added it to that one. It was not on the original one.
Two pieces of paper. I think I'll do a lot more.
On the speaker slips, you usually, if there's two boxes, opportunity for the public to speak and an agenda item. Agenda item is either, 9.1 or 9.2 or 8.1, and you could add 8.1, 9.4, you could add 2 or 3 items if you wanted to talk on. EMU has down here nothing.
I forgot it's public.
Public, okay.
I got something else besides that.
Well, we haven't got there yet. Anita, is yours on here? What agenda item or?
I don't know, you tell me, is it on there?
No, it's,
It is, 9-1, on the very top, it is, right there.
Check mark box.
Is it not?
well, this is a written comment,
No, it is not a written comment. That was a comment that I put on there.
but then she should put it down. Okay, I see.
Please.
Okay, thank you. Right now, we did get verification of the 3 new members on the board. And here's the verification. It was voted on the consent calendar on Tuesday of this week by Supervisor Brian Jacobs. And it was voted on 4 to nothing, and abstained. Robert was absent, I guess. Robert was absent. So they are on the board, and now we will invite them up to sit on the desk and guide us, and to be sworn in. 3, Mary Hall, Tia, and Janet. Samuelson. Okay, this is the same oath that we took in December. Raise your right hand, please. And then you would state your name. I
Janet Warner,
do solemnly swear that
solemnly swear
I will
that
support and defend the Constitution
I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the Constitution
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and take the Constitution of the State of California,
and take the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take the obligation freely
that I take the obligation freely
without any mental reservations or purpose
without any mental reservations or purpose
or evasion,
or evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
And I do further swear
And I do further swear
that I do not advocate,
that I do not advocate,
nor am I a member of any party
nor am I a member of any party
or organization, political or otherwise,
political or otherwise,
that now advocates the overthrow of the government
that now advocates the overthrow of the government
of the United States or
of the United States or
of the State of California
of the State of California
by the force or violence of any other unlawful means,
by force and violence of any other unlawful means,
that within the 5 years immediately preceding the taking of the oath,
that within the 5 years immediately preceding the taking of the oath,
I have not been a member of
I have not been a member of
any party or organization,
any party or organization,
political or otherwise,
political or otherwise,
that advocate the overthrow of the government
that advocates the overthrow of the government
of the United States
of the United States
or of the State of California
or of the State of California
by the force or violence
by the force or violence
or other unlawful means,
or other unlawful means,
and that during such time as I hold the office
and that during such time as I hold the office
of planning group member,
of planning group
I
member,
will not advocate nor become a member of
I will not advocate or become a member of
any party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government
any party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government
of the United States or the State of California
of the United States or the State of California
by the force or violence or other unlawful means.
by the force or violence or other unlawful means.
Congratulations, you remember? Okay, item number 6, public.
I'm sorry, could you speak up?
Item number, we're on public forum, item number 6. Opportunity for the public to address the board on topics pertaining to planning and land use which does not appear elsewhere on this agenda. Let's go with Raymond.
Okay. Raymond Lutz, Citizens Oversight. Just one comment about the rules is that, and other places say this when they take these slips of paper, they always say you're not required to fill these out and you can still speak. So I would recommend that you, when you say this, you say, please fill out the slips, and you're not required to fill them out by law, but it's a convenience for talking. But you still only get to talk once if you happen to not fill one out. That's all I wanted to say.
Brenda has one other.
I reserve mine till the end, please.
Christine.
I just wanted to say that I know this is probably not in your purview, but that's the whole point. They can only deal with planning and land use, so I really think that it would be nice if we could create a venue, like a community meeting, where we can deal with the issues that are concerning us that aren't planning and land use. So maybe we could have quarterly or monthly or like once every 2 months, we could have a meeting where the community could bring their concerns, and we as a group can work on that, because we're not going to be able to do it here unless it's planning and land use. So I just think that's important, because we do have concerns, and we need to create a place where we can actually solve those problems.
Right, that's a good idea. Good idea.
Who's going to chair this thing, Christine?
She just brought it to the attention.
I see. Mr. Wright?
Yeah, now that we don't have Blackwater to beat anymore, I'd like to know what this board is going to do about the individuals that are living on property illegally in RVs and motorhomes and converted buses. These are land use issues, believe it or not. They're in violation of County Ordinance 56.2, 10, and 211. They're either storing stuff illegally on their property, or they are living in their buses and RVs illegally. I'd like to know what you, as a planning board, land use, are going to do about that.
Any members here want to?
What would you like us to do?
You're the board, you're supposed to know what to do.
You're the community.
You're supposed to support the law.
You're the community.
You can't have this discussion.
No.
It's not on the agenda.
Don't discuss anything. No response.
Exactly right. If you have a complaint with it, you, the citizen, have to call the land enforcement, the code enforcement. It is not up to this board. It never was and it never will be.
So using land illegally is not their purview.
No. Make a call and report it and put your name on the list and get
We've already discussed this about the last meeting, and now it's been going on about three meetings now. And we answered that to code enforcement, and that's a free citizen.
So you're not about enforcing or
We've already answered
checking
that.
out the law to make sure.
We've already got answered from the county saying that we are not going to discuss code enforcement.
Okay, so all people that registered to vote that are living illegally, you can't do anything about those people?
No.
Okay.
And you?
Emil Suzu. By the way, this is not what I'm standing up to speak about. I just want to point out 2 violations of the Brown Act and Policy I-1 that you just did right now. One, the first vote, you never took a roll call, and one of your members never opened her mouth. 2, on the second vote, you never took a roll call, and another member never opened her mouth. So now, did you guys vote something? Yes or no? Okay, because you called 2 votes and you never called a roll call. And Mr. Lutz, you want to fix me on this one? Am I right or am I wrong?
I'm sorry, but you address your question.
I'm addressing the question to you, Carl. Took 2 votes without a roll call.
Well,
and you never confirmed with all your members if they voted yes or no.
On simple matters, it's usually not.
It's not a simple matter, Mr. Myers. It is a vote.
On the minutes.
It is a vote, Mr. Myers.
What we can do is arrange the chair, the table, so we have 2 members, vice chair and chair in the middle, and the chairs will point at an angle so I could see how they vote, and that would be a little bit easier for
you have to do a roll
verification. Okay, we're going to go on. Phil?
Yes. Is this your agenda for tonight?
No, it's not.
Where's the agenda that was on the table?
Well, I forgot to bring a lot of them, but I do have this one.
Okay.
Speak up, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Okay, reason I filled it out, because this was laying on the table, I presume this is the agenda.
No, I'm sorry.
So-
It would say agenda.
Yeah, I understand that, that's what I was gonna gripe about. And,
Yeah.
If, you know, how could we fill out an item for agenda to talk about?
Yes, I understand. Here's the agenda, you could use this, and then you could fill that out and hand in your slip anytime tonight. Like I said, I did forget to bring a number of agendas. I should have brought maybe 30 of them every day, every time we meet, I guess. Okay, Ed. Okay. Approval of expenses, number
Wait.
7.
I reserved mine for the last.
I thought you meant the last of it.
I meant the last of the comments, if you don't mind.
Okay, okay.
I just don't want you to get it.
My comment is about the same thing that Christine said, that we should have a meeting for the community, and we do have such an organization. It's
Thank you.
Okay, we got through that in less than 10 minutes.
Not yet.
He's still right.
We have one. Do you have any item what's for the number 6 public forum? We already had that. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, I disagree with a little bit of the land use deal, because this is a community, and like where you cut me off last meeting about the school, to me, that is a community, which we did as a board members. We all worked on it, everybody talked about it, we went down to the deal on the Traffic Advisory Safety Committee about the school zone. To me, that is a planning, that is a...
Let me stop, that's on 9.3 here.
Well, wait a minute, you said item 6.
I know, but that's for,
You can only talk when it's not
that's
on
for
the agenda.
non-agenda items. That, you're talking about agenda item on 9.
Where?
Where?
9.3. Formation of a circulation subcommittee.
How are we supposed to know what circulation?
Well, say, it's an opportunity for the public to address the board on topics pertaining to plan and land use, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, where does it say down here, or anything about the schools?
The circulation subcommittee will be a... Will be...
How are we supposed to
Yeah,
know
no,
that?
Well, how are we supposed to know this if you don't tell
When we
us?
get to the agenda, we
It
can
says
explain it.
anything not on the agenda. I'm getting so tired of
You're out of
this.
You're out of order.
Okay,
Can't control your-
boy, what a...
But you, if that's
That's a kangaroo court.
Well, if that's, you have another item on here, we can discuss that after on 9.3, but we
Okay,
have other.
another land issue. Now, this is the third meeting we have in here. We're getting up and said pledge allegiance to the flag. Why don't somebody bring a flag up here?
Ma'am,
Yes.
I'm going to ask Candy Bonner if we can borrow her flag until we get one.
Okay, okay, that's one of the things I want to talk about. This is the third time we had
That's
it.
not planning.
As part of the planning group, we're making a pledge allegiance to a flag, to a wall over there.
Second meeting.
I didn't see your flag.
I forgot to bring the flag out.
Okay,
We have a flag up here in Fourplex.
and another thing, okay, excuse me for interrupting you there. Another thing, if you come in here, most of the time we had all the agendas out for everybody. You come in prepared, and then how can we know what you want
I
to do?
understand, I said that, and that was my fault.
Okay, and also on your agenda, where does it say on there that you're going to put the new members in? Where does it say on the agenda?
They were, like I said, they were automatically appointed on the Tuesday of this week.
Okay, fine, I have no problem with that, but then why didn't you announce it, say, hey, they've been approved, and I was unable, because you can put a last minute agendas up, because the one you put on the post office is most of the time right, but you can have an adjustment when you come in here. You did not get up and say, hey, this is the problem, I didn't have it out, we're going to vote to swear the new members in. If this is agenda, then you have a modification in the agenda saying so.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the board did not take action on those items. It was a swearing in by the chair. The board did not take any action on that. The Board of Supervisors appointed them Tuesday.
I have no problem with that, but in agenda, why don't you have it, or you say, okay, I was unable to put it out, so here is the modification. So we have it down in the minutes, so Terry can put it down. I mean, otherwise you say, you're putting it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
May I ask
And
one question?
excuse me, Rob, I did have another item. I would like for that a letter read that I wrote. We read, as a previous deal, we read all the letters people asked to read. I want to read. What was that?
Somebody out in the audience spoke.
Barbara did.
Well, I think,
Okay, excuse me, I'm getting out of this kangaroo court. You guys can have it. And thank you, Mr. Lutz. Let's go, Norma. Barbara, thank you very much.
You're welcome. There's not enough time to speak, careful.
I was even a clap from one of the new board members, that's what the community is
I
about.
hope you got that on camera.
It's going to detail you.
That's definitely one detail.
excuse me,
Don't excuse yourself,
Anita?
please, no.
I
My
want you
name's
to
Heather.
control your...
What, are you gonna kick me out?
Brenda, control yourself.
Are you
or
going to
guys
kick
can
me
be-
out?
Yes.
Please.
Just be quiet and just, you have your opportunity to discuss all these matters.
What-
so
what's
just-
the hypocrite?
I don't like
That's right.
your interruptions. You understand me?
Excuse me, do not raise your voice,
Well, then tell
Carl,
your
because me and you can talk.
Excuse me, tell your woman.
Don't even
Excuse me,
go
who do you
there.
think you are? Tell your woman. He's not even married to her.
And Brenda.
It's okay for Barbara, but it's not okay for us.
That's
Other
right.
meetings. And any other planning.
Barbara was able to make a comment. And I don't hear
You didn't
you.
shut her out of
You didn't shut her out.
Perhaps we should call the
You didn't
sheriff,
shut her out
so
of
we can be
order.
civil.
Thank you.
Just like
Go
you
ahead and
guys
call
are
the
out
sheriff.
of
You want the
order.
number? I'll call him right now. Danny Nunez. Not a
Excuse me
problem.
for being out of order.
Now on, maybe we should have the sheriff here.
I think so too. I think you do a drug test too in here.
Okay. Old items, number 8, discussion, possible action, resignation and election of a new Potrero Community Planning Group secretary. Does any new members or members on this board would rather have to be a secretary? If not, or if you do, can you raise your hand? Terry will be the secretary till further notice. Item number 8.2, subcommittee reports. On A is Sunrise Power Link. Dan, you have that?
Yes, I do.
Can you please give a...
Sure. February 25th, there was the PUC, and I cannot remember the gentleman's name. They held a meeting at the Mountain Empire High School, and I would say a good 100 people showed up. I was there, several of the community members, Roxanne was there, Billy Joe Jannon, and a great deal of people spoke. Nobody spoke in favor of the Sunrise Power Link. Everyone spoke against it. The deadline for receiving a letter for the California Public Utilities is April 11, 2008. If anyone needs the address, I can provide it today. Here, if you haven't written your letter already, or you need to write one, the address is up here, so you can come and get it later. And that's all I have right now. They're waiting for the deadline, and then they'll go back to the EIR, EIS.
Okay, and then I think, Jan, you're also on the chair on the capital management?
The dump has been, has delayed, they have delayed the EIS on the dump. It was supposed to be out in March. Now they're projecting late spring or summer. They're having trouble with the environmental impacts. And that's all they have on that right now.
Can I add one comment? There is a hearing down at the Sandag office on the 28th. It's a very important hearing about the Sunrise Power Link. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm going to try to go because they've been telling me it's a very important one.
March 28th?
March 28th, and it's downtown at 401 B Street.
What time?
At 9 o'clock, 9 to noon. Thank you.
Okay, we're on to new business, and this is when Devin, you're up next. Welcome, Devin, from the county. The new general plan.
Well, thank you very much for having me here tonight, and thank you very much for your time. My name is Devin Muto. I'm a chief with the Department of Planning and Land Use. I oversee the Advanced Planning Division. I'm also the project manager for the General Plan Update. And what I wanted to do today is talk to you a little about the General Plan Update and what that project entails, where we're at with it. And then I also want to talk about a couple of the issues that we're working through right now with the project. And then there's also, I think, another item just after this that's going to deal with the community planning group boundaries, or the sponsor group boundaries. Before I get started, why don't I go ahead and pass out my card. There should be enough for all of you. I'm not sure if I have enough for all of the audience, but feel free to jot it down. There's my phone number, my email on there. If you ever have a question, concern, comment about the general plan update, feel free to give me a call. Fire me an email, any of those. I want the general plan update project to be a very open project, one where the public can be completely involved in, and so I definitely want people to be able to contact me. That said, if you have comments about other aspects of the Department of Planning and Land Use, I'm not the one for you to contact. We have a complete list of contacts on our website, and you can go there. And we also have a general telephone number that you can call for general contacts as well. So only call me for the general plan update. But if you do, I'll be very helpful, I promise you. So I know that there's a lot of people that well, you're all new to the board. So what I'm going to do is give you just a really brief update or overview of the entire project. And then I'll do what I've been doing for all the other planning groups, which is telling you where we're at today. But going back to 1997, in December is when this project originated. And the Board of Supervisors directed staff to begin work on a general plan update. The general plan is what a lot of people refer to as the constitution for physical development of the unincorporated lands of the county. All jurisdictions that have land use authority have to have them. At least all counties and cities have to have general plans. It's required by state law. And there's a number of requirements within state law that dictate what you have to have in your general plan. It's actually a pretty thick document, so we've got our work cut out for us. It had been about 30 years since we'd actually done a comprehensive update to our general plan, so that was one of the reasons why we needed to do it. There's been a lot of change with our land uses since then. There's also been a lot of changes in the law since then. So what we need to do is bring that general plan up to respond to today's issues, today's problems, and today's laws, and that's what we're working on. It's been going on for a very long time, but there's been a lot of work that's been done. It started with a lot of community interaction, and basically what first occurred is that staff worked with the communities to identify what type of population growth each of the communities saw for their area. After that, they started looking at the land use maps, and I brought the land use map here for Potrero, and started identifying what types of densities of development or of growth they could see in their areas. Some of them saw very little, some of them saw a lot more, and staff worked with the communities to actually put land use designations on the map. There's an existing land use map, and many of you who have been involved with the land use may be familiar with it. And so, this is very similar to that, but it does result in a lot of changes. The designations that are on this map, they vary between a few different things. They specify type, so there's a residential designation, there's a commercial designation, there's an industrial designation, and those basically dictate what type of type is allowed, type of use is allowed on a property. Then it also has an intensity associated with it. For residences, it has an intensity of what we call density, which is dwelling units per acre. So if it has, let's say, a rural lands designation of 1 dwelling unit per 20 acres, that's the type of use that you're basically allowed plus the density. We also have intensities for commercial use and for industrial use. Those are a little bit more specific, and they're going to be contained in a document that's going to go along with this map. But we're required by law to both have the type of use that is allowed and the intensity of use that is allowed. So this is kind of our highest level document or highest level plan that we have for the county. To go along with it, we have an actual document that contains goals and policies for development of the county, and we're working on that right now. And then, this basically is implemented by all of our regulations, all of our additional plans, zoning ordinance, subdivision ordinance, resource protection ordinance, all those regulations that further guide development must be consistent with this overall plan. So that's just a really brief overview on what the general plan is. Let me go a little bit further and I'll take some questions. But I think it's probably a good time to probably pass out the schedule and I'll show you where we're at today. I'll just go ahead and take one and pass it down. Like I said, there's a lot of work that's gone into the general plan. These maps are really the result of that. We also have a circulation network that's been developed, and it's been endorsed by the board of supervisors already. And so what we're working on right now is the text that goes along with it, that document that I told you about. It's typically a few hundred pages, and not a whole lot of it has been written. And so that's what we're working on, containing these goals and policies about various issues. They can range from land use to housing to specific issues like flooding, seismicity, geology, water. And so we're going through that, drafting up all of the goals and policies. We're doing it first in-house, and then we're going to be working with technical groups of professionals that are both from the county and also outside the county. So we're not just going to rely on our own staff. We know that there's a lot of people out there in the community that have a lot of expertise, and we want to get them a part of the process. We're also working with two stakeholder groups. We have two groups that have been basically authorized by the Board of Supervisors to guide us through this process. One is called the Steering Committee. The Steering Committee is made up of representatives of all the community planning groups and sponsor groups. And Carl's been attending the Steering Committee on behalf of you. It's a great way to provide input in the process. We have a lot of interaction with them. We're meeting at a minimum quarterly, although we've been doing it a lot more frequently lately. Our other advisory group is called the Interest Group, and I basically say it's a group of special interests. We have individuals on there that represent environmental interests, they represent developers, we have individuals that represent agriculture and farming, and then we also have some representatives from some professional organizations such as the American Planning Association. So in addition to working with the technical specialists, we work with those stakeholders, and then ultimately we take everything out to a broad public and agency review. So every citizen has an opportunity to comment on it, and all agencies have an opportunity to comment on the general plan as well. The schedule that I just handed out basically shows the process for us going through and working through those different review cycles. It also shows us right at the beginning hiring a consultant, and that was one of the key issues that we saw with this project when I got assigned to it basically about 6 months ago, is that we didn't have as part of our team somebody that had really solid experience with finishing general plans for California or preparing environmental impact reports for California. So we contracted with a consultant. They're on board. Their name is PBS&J. They're well known throughout the nation, throughout the state, for doing very good work. But we're not going to completely rely on them to do all the work. We're actually using them kind of as a technical reviewer and a sounding board. And so county staff is maintaining the control of all the plans and the documents. So I know that that's been a concern expressed by some people that we're going to just give it over to the consultant. They're going to take the whole project. That's not the case. And in fact, a lot of the work that's been done, we're not even changing. The maps that have been prepared and endorsed by the board, we aren't changing those. We are preparing some additional maps as alternatives for the environmental impact report. And that's one thing that I did want to share with you today, talk to you a little bit about those alternatives. And you'll see that in the schedule under environmental impact report, that's one of the tasks that we're working on right now. We've prepared one additional alternative in addition to the two board-endorsed alternatives. And when I talk about board-endorsed alternatives, basically what those are is they went throughout the entire county, all the unincorporated lands, and they've developed these maps. It started with one map that essentially was staff working with just the planning groups. But then that process didn't take into account a lot of additional public input, a lot of property owner input. And so when that additional input came on, that resulted in another alternative. So those two alternatives are referred to as the draft map and then the referrals map. The referrals map typically has higher densities on it. That was what was born out of bringing additional people into the process. And then what we've done is we've developed another alternative that's called the hybrid map. The hybrid map is kind of a blend of those two different maps. Lastly, we're working right now on what we call an environmentally superior alternative. It's something that's required as a part of state law in preparing our environmental impact report. It's not yet available, but it will be available soon. And one thing that we're looking at for Potrero is, in the environmentally superior map, is reducing a little bit of the commercial that we have shown on these maps, and also going a little bit less dense on some of the, I think it's the 1 to 10, the SR10s. We were going to drop down the density a little bit. So the purpose of that is to look at various options for land use planning and to explore all the potential environmental impacts of it. And it also allows the board flexibility for making decisions on the property and also for you to give input into the process. The different maps are all available on the website. And we've also prepared a map. There we go. We've also prepared this map, which helps you out a little bit in understanding how the different maps differ. The referrals map, the hybrid map, and the draft map are actually all very similar, but there's some areas within those maps that have some key differences. And so what we did is we went and we highlighted those areas that have differences. So this is just showing Potrero and Tecate. Everything that's out here that doesn't have yellow hatching over it is the same on all three of those maps. Only the areas that actually have the yellow hatching on it have different designations on those three maps. You also have a table that goes along with this. And what the table does is it tells you on each of those maps what the actual designations are. So I'll just go ahead and pass this out. Potrero is ME1. If you look on this table, there's just ME1. And because of the level of detail of this, it actually doesn't give you as much information as it probably should, which is where exactly do the designations differ. But basically what you see here, this is the referral map, and it has the commercial lumped down here in the south around the intersection. The draft map relocates some of this commercial further up the road. And that's basically the difference between the two maps. So those are the two alternatives that we're analyzing in addition to the other one that I indicated, where we're actually going to just reduce the commercial and then reduce the densities a little bit in the area. This map also is available on the website. And so if you ever want to go in there, you can drill down and look at the actual parcels and zoom in and you can print it out. It's a real good tool to have. So we're going to be taking all these maps and we're going to be preparing an environmental impact report. As some of you may be aware, environmental impact reports there's a lot of technical analysis that goes into it. There's a lot of state law that applies to it, and so it's a very lengthy process, and so we're getting started with it right now. That's kind of our major schedule driver, and you'll see on our schedule that I prepared that there's multiple tasks going into it, and there's modeling, and we have to go through iterations of review and revision with our consultant that's going to be assisting us with that. Ultimately, we'll take that to public review as well, so in addition to the general plan itself going to public review, we're going to take that to public review. And then ultimately we go to hearing. We'll go to the Planning Commission for recommendation and then the Board of Supervisors for consideration of approval. We're targeting the fall of 2010 to hear for approval on the project. We believe that's a reasonable date and we're planning on sticking to it. In the past, like I said, this project's been going on for a long time and there's kind of been dates that have been set and they've been missed or they just kind of get extended. Our plan is to stop that. We have a new team on the project, and we want to be definitive with our schedule. So we have this schedule on the website, and we'll be keeping it up for the duration of the project, so that the public can follow us as we go along and see that we are staying on track. A couple other things to note on that schedule. In the middle of this year and the middle of next year, we're showing progress reports. You see it right at the bottom of the schedule. There's a couple of yellow stars. Those are reports that we'll be making to the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. And that's a really good time if you want to speak about the project, about the general plan update, and have your voice heard by our hearing bodies. You can go there and provide comment at that time. So that's a really good way to provide input into this project. As I said before, the steering committee, providing comments here in this forum, and then having Carl take them to our steering committee is another good way. Contacting me directly, you can do that. That's a great way to provide comments and share your concerns. Also the public review process. We're going to have public review. You can review the documents and comment on it. And then if you want to stay just up to speed on the project, you can go on our website, look at all the information on there. And then you can also, if you'd like, receive an email newsletter. We send out a monthly email newsletter that provides dates of upcoming meetings that we're going to hold, and then just has announcements about the project. If you'd like to receive that, grab one of my cards, send me an email, and I'll put you on the email newsletter list, and you'll be receiving them. Typically at the beginning of each month is when we've been sending them out. So that's just a really brief overview of the project and what we're working on. Before I go into the, let's see, I've got the rural village boundaries to talk about next. I guess I can take some general questions if the group so pleases.
Sure. Has anyone else have a question?
Mr. Bruno, you've got the two maps here. This one is what's this one called?
Well, this one right here, the base map is the referral map.
This is a referral map. The other one's a draft map. Now, I don't understand the reasoning for the two different maps because 2 years ago we were working on this when I was on the planning board, and we had people from your department come out a number of times. That looks more like what we were talking about when we were doing that, but the one on the other side there is like, what happened to it?
This one? Where it actually moves the commercial
I mean,
out?
things that, that doesn't look anywhere near what we were talking about. And I know it may seem, I don't remember everything, but that one there looks more concise than the other one.
Yeah, I can't tell you. These maps should be kind of the way they were when I got onto the project.
Okay, and you've got 2008 as your starting point here. You didn't say that this is a result of the previous 10 years or previous 5 years of work from the different planning groups.
That's a very good point. One thing I failed to mention is that after those, the population goals were set, and those were set back in about 2000 with the planning groups. They then worked on the maps. They also worked on a set of goals and policies. Those were endorsed by the board in 2001, and then work on the maps kept continuing, and that was done with the planning groups. So it's a very good point. I think there's another hand up here.
I wanted to know about the hearing preparation and the comment response and the revision. Is that for the public or is that for the county supervisors?
That's for the public. All the comments that we receive on the documents, we'll be reading through them, we'll be considering them. In some cases, we actually have to go back to the project and make changes because of them. And then we'll be preparing responses to all of them as well. So there's actually a lot of work that goes into that.
Yeah, and this isn't going to be out until 2010 where we can do that?
You can provide comments now. But I mean, you just have this right now to comment on. We aren't planning on having the whole document out until 2010.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we're going to try to do it sooner, but there's a lot to do, so we wanted to be realistic about when we thought we could get it out.
All right, thank you.
Any other general comments?
Comment to the board, if you don't mind. Carl, he said that you've been making meetings. How come you haven't brought up stuff up to us that you've been making meetings for the community?
I did. I brought those maps, remember, I put the maps up on the board. That was the first meeting, I think.
That was the first meeting you went to then?
Yeah.
I see, okay.
Any other questions from the board?
One question on commercial.
Okay.
Do you know how much acres is in the rural commercial segment?
Just for Potrero? No, I don't have that number off the top of my head.
Yeah. You don't have that?
No, I mean, I can go back to the office and calculate it really quickly, but yeah, I didn't come prepared to answer that question.
Is the commercial property, you said you're going to go back and maybe through traffic models and maybe relook at the commercial areas?
Well, these maps aren't going to change. The hybrid, the referral, and the draft map aren't going to change. However, we're currently preparing the environmentally superior map, and what we're doing is we're actually dropping down the amount of commercial that we're showing on the map for that map. So that will be less, and we'll be modeling all of those from a traffic standpoint. We're also looking at them from environmental impacts. So they will be modeled, and that will give us, kind of a range of different options that we can look at. We can even look at other options beyond that if you choose to. They just won't be included on the maps. So we can, if the board has another interest for us to look at it and want to present us with something, we can look at it and see if it could be something that can be considered as part of the project.
I know that some of the community members and maybe a few people on the board, not too many, I haven't talked to that many, maybe thought we might have a little bit excessive commercial land. I mean, I was wondering how much acres. I know now we have about 15 acres. And all that has not been used, and it still sits vacant, actually. I'm just wondering, I don't know how much land is in that added, actually.
Yeah, we're actually running models right now on all of our maps, and when we get that, what we'll have at the end is just for Potrero, we'll be able to tell you how much acreage is in actually all the different land use designations, so not just rural commercial, but we can tell you what it is for the semi-rural in each one of the designations and then for the rural lands. So we'll be able to tell you how much acreage each one of the maps have for each one of those different alternatives. And then we're also going to be doing population projections based on that. So you can also see how much population growth you might be looking at should all those designations be developed out. So it will be a useful tool, and we're planning on having that probably within the next month or so. So we'll be sending those to the community when they're available.
One other question.
My question was dealing with the checkers on there. Just to clarify, so that could be moved all the way up or moved all the way back, correct? On the
yeah, basically this is the underlying map right here is what one of the alternatives are, and actually the map that's behind here is another one. And you can see on this, the commercial is actually moved up. Yeah, you actually see a gap right here, whereas on this one, it's all continuous. The commercial is all one tight area.
Okay, but where it's checkered, that could be commercial, but it could not be later? Is that kind of how it is, as far as it could be added or subtracted in those checkered areas?
Yeah, that's correct. Those are the alternatives that we're looking at is, should we have it, should we not? What are the implications when it comes to environmental resources, when it comes to traffic? And those are the things that the group can comment on. You can say, yes, we like it there, no, we don't like it there. You can make those types of comments to us. And you can even go into more detail if you like. We are going to be somewhat constrained because we need to make sure that the analysis that we prepare on these maps covers off any decision that the board ultimately makes. But for the most part, I mean, if you want to drop things, then it's easier than if you wanted to add like a lot more commercial.
Thank you.
Sure.
How soon does the board need to get their comments in for this to, on this map? Maps?
Well, like I said, we're not going to change these maps. So they don't have to worry about getting it in to change the maps. We're going to be preparing the environmental analysis over the next, well, you can see it on their schedule right there, over like the next year and a half. If they want to provide comments at that time, it's easier for us to anticipate comments and be planning for it. But really, if we get comments when we go out to public review with the environmental document, that will also be fine. We'll still be able to consider them at that time and be able to plan.
What is the website address?
The website's www.sdcounty.ca.gov.
SD County, what?
.ca. .gov. And then you do a slash. And I always think it's a backslash or a forward slash. It goes like that. It's your normal slash that you usually do. And then you put DPLU. That will take you to the Department of Planning and Land Use webpage. And on the left-hand side, there's a link to the general plan update. There's also a link to a lot of other stuff. So if you guys are interested in anything else, you were mentioning code enforcement before, that website's a great resource for all that information.
When do you anticipate your next visit to our
It depends on where we are in the process and if we have any other issues that come up. I don't have anything scheduled right now. We do have a plan to start doing community plan updates soon. And so when that gets scheduled for the group, I'd probably come back at that point. And if there's something that the group would like me to come and speak about, you can definitely invite me and I'll try to fit it in my schedule. I am the single point of contact for this project, and there's 23 groups, so I'm trying to, for the most part, keep my evenings free. But I'd be happy if there's requests.
Question here.
Okay.
Who owns the property?
Who owns the property? It's various. I mean, there's all different property owners throughout this area.
Multiple owners for each parcel, or?
Oh, well, yeah, it depends. I mean, some parcels can have multiple owners. Gray right here, that's the school, and of course that's public. So, yeah, it's various, and if you go even larger, you'll see that our maps pick up Indian reservations, we show state lands, we show everything.
But the commercial property, you're not counting the school in commercial, right?
No, that's actually shown in public, semi-public.
Do you take any consideration as to who owns that property you're designating commercial? Like you moved it on the second map, it's moved up higher, and you cut out the section in the middle?
Mm-hmm. No, we try to stay away from individual properties. Actually, we're not allowed by state law to consider the interest really of individual property owners. What we have to do is apply standard principles consistently throughout the county. And so we stay at that level. But if there's individual concerns that are voiced and they relate to general planning principles, we definitely listen to them and try to accommodate them. In the back?
Where's the brown on that map all over the map?
It's a dark color, real dark.
This green?
No, not green, gray.
Brown. The brown portion of the map.
This over here.
No.
Darker.
Dark.
There
you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that?
Is that,
BLM.
it might be open space.
BLM property.
BLM.
Yeah.
Behind my house, BLM.
It's probably, if it's BLM, it could be open space recreation, because that's basically what BLM is, open space recreation. I don't think, it's not national forest. So it's either open space recreation or open space conservation. I'm thinking recreation is probably a safer bet.
So does that also show ag preserve and things of that nature?
Well, if it's BLM, then it's federal lands. Otherwise, yeah, open space recreation could be county owned, and it could be owned by other entities that we know has some type of easement over it.
There's a lot of times I know that they refer to ag preserve, and I'm confused as is that the Williamson Act, that the property owner puts it in an ag preserve for a tax break, or is that a different ag preserve?
The ag preserve, it was created in conjunction with the Williamson Act, but it's a separate designation. So you can actually find some properties in the county that will have an agricultural preserve on it, but it won't have a contract under the Williamson Act contract. So but basically it was required that in order for a property to enter into the Williamson Act contract, they needed to have the ag preserve designation on it.
Members who owns the property writes a letter saying, I don't want my property to be commercial, will you consider that?
We'll consider it, but unless it has actual planning reasons for it, it's difficult for us to make an exception. We have to, like I said, apply it consistently.
If your property is made commercial, it's very difficult to do anything without putting in street lights, sidewalks, all kinds of things that we don't even have out here. So I really hope that you would consider more what those community members want, because they can't do anything once their property is commercial.
Yeah. We do, when it comes to commercial, we do listen a lot more to the individual property owners because, like you said, we don't want to be putting a bunch of commercial out there and then just have nothing get built when the purpose of it is to provide amenities to the community. So there is some level of planning that goes on with that. But when it comes to other things like actual densities for residential, that's really when we can't listen to the property owners as much. Yes, sir.
How many of the people working on these projects, specifically the Potrero area, have ever been east of El Cajon? I don't mean to be smart, but we've had this in the past where we've had representatives making decisions for the community that have never been here. They have no idea what it looks like or what the conditions are.
Yeah. Well, I'm the project manager. I have oversight of the entire project, so I've been out here.
Is this your first visit?
It is my first visit.
After you've already made all the plans, but it's your first visit.
Well, I didn't make the plans, but I did spend about half an hour driving around, and it's a very beautiful area. I also went up yesterday with our consultant, and we actually flew in the helicopter throughout the whole county. So we came by here, we actually followed the 94 corridor down. They got to see Potrero. Well, bird's eye view, it's not, exactly the same, but at least we got a sense. And most of the staff we have on the project have been out here, and they have been out, basically everybody's been out past Oklahoma. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a reason why most of the commercial you're showing there is going up Potrero Valley Road, which is a one-way in and out road, rather than 94, which is a two-way exit?
I think that the reason that there wasn't more commercial along 94 is because there's some constraints. There is drainage that goes along the northern side of it, and I think there's some steeper hillsides on the south side. And then there's also potential traffic conflicts with having too many driveways going on to the 94 is a major thoroughfare. So we try to reduce those types of potential conflicts and safety hazards.
Is there a plan to make that road go straight through then, so it's a through road? Right now, it's not a through road.
I don't believe there is a plan. I can look at the circulation element.
Shouldn't that be in a plan, a way out? When we just went through a fire, if the people are in there and the fire comes right there at where it came back through there, you would block all of those people in the commercial areas from coming out to get to 94, and there is no way out from the other side. There is no fire engines on the other side. All the fire engines are on this side. They're all on the 94 side. Don't you think that should be something taken into consideration? The safety of the people?
Definitely. We are looking at secondary access for all of our communities, and I didn't bring the circulation element with us. But I can look at that and send it back to the group and give you that information. It may already be on the map. If it isn't, definitely give us comments and we'll continue to look at that.
Okay, I'll send you an email because I'd like a copy of that.
Okay. Yes.
Just to go along with what Brenda's saying, there is the possibility of a road connecting because there's a dirt road that's really, really bad, but if you fix it, then it would go up to Harris Ranch Road and then it would be.
I do believe that that's actually shown on our long-term plans.
If you map quest it, it'll tell you to go that way, and it's not passable.
Yeah, I believe that that's shown on our long-term
So if
plans.
you're looking at that as part of the plan, it's not a passable road for normal traffic. And so it's not good planning if you haven't actually driven it.
Okay.
Okay. Excuse me.
Last one and then we'll move on. Okay.
The second day of the fire, we came down the hill around Potrero, and they actually, CAL FIRE, CDF, had the intersection blocked right there. And we could not even go up around Potrero. They said, oh, you're supposed to go Harris Ranch Road. That's the point she's trying to make. These are out of our area people that came in and they were told, oh, they have access out that way. Only if you had a four-wheel drive, maybe.
I have one of those.
That's not everybody. That is a true safety concern. So I went right back up the hill. Where was I gonna go?
But the county could maintain that road and then the county.
Maybe they'll have property, move the BLM property.
There's private land involved in there too.
Well, I'll definitely make a note of it. Feel free to comment to me as well, and we'll continue looking at it. I believe it is on the maps, but I'll double check. And if you want to look for yourself, you can go on our website. And if you want me to send it to you, I can do that as well. I'm going to move on just for the sake of time, but I will take some additional questions once we kind of make some more progress through this. What I'm going to pass out right now, if you wouldn't mind taking one and passing it down. I'm passing out, it's a 2-page document. On the back, I'm going to do this one first because you're probably going to be confused as soon as you look at it. This is just one of the mapping scenarios, so don't get too focused on what the land uses are. It's not like these are fixed. It's just one of the mapping scenarios that we have, and we just need to put something on the map so you have some frame of reference to look at. Also, the line that's on there, it's completely draft. We put it on there as a starting point for discussion only. Staff is not proposing this right now. What we're just doing is providing this to the planning group so that you guys can have something to start with and work on it and mark it up as you so please. So I just want to make you aware of that so you don't get too caught up on what's on the map. So going back to what the purpose of this, there's two planning tools that we're incorporating into our land use element as part of those goals and policies. And these are the two planning tools. One is called a village limit line, and that relates to our more urban areas, and so it doesn't pertain to you. The other one is the rural village boundary. And that's the second one. The definition of it's fairly short. And this is just it's a tool that we're using to identify where our communities are throughout the unincorporated area. If you look on this map right here, you can tell that there isn't, other than there being some pink on the map, there isn't anything that you can really see that says, hey, there's a community here. I mean, maybe if we wrote Potrero on it, which we do on most of the maps, you'd be able to tell, oh, there's a community there. But otherwise, there isn't a real locator of the heart of our community.
Do you have any other copies of these? There's not nearly enough to go around.
I'm sorry, these are the only ones I thought.
Can somebody share some with the rest of us?
Yeah, we sent a couple
So what the rural village boundary does is it allows us to draw a line on the map and say, this is basically the heart of the community. This is where we want to look if we're going to put any additional commercial, any additional civic uses. You already have your school and your post office, but any other related uses. If we want to look at any infrastructure improvements, like sidewalks or trails or anything like that, or roadway improvements, or any additional study area, this is a way for us to target an area in each of our communities. You don't have to have one. It's something that may be more useful to some communities than others, but we do find it useful to be able to pick up a map, especially for a lot of our planners, which haven't yet been past El Cajon, be able to pick up the map and say, oh, that's the center of Potrero, and I understand what that means. If somebody's going to propose a project, around there, they can say, okay, this is its relationship to the center of the community, and that's really what the purpose of the village boundary is for. It doesn't constrain uses at all. It's solely used as a guidance tool for our planners. And we went and drew a line here on this map just based on where the commercial land uses and the civic uses were lying on this. Of course, if we changed where the commercial uses actually lie, then you'd probably want to tighten that in a little bit more and just show that core area of the community. So I'm not asking for any comments or ruling by the group on the boundary today. If you want to discuss it and try to make a motion, you can. Or if you want to put on a future agenda item, you're welcome to do that as well. We would like to get comments back probably by the end of April. We don't have a deadline set yet. However, we are asking for comments on the actual definition, the language of the definition, by March 17th, which is real soon. So if you have comments on that.
That's very soon.
It is. It's actually been out with the steering committee for review for the past 5 weeks. So there's going to be additional.
Communities weren't, if you ask about that at all, you're going to decide what the community character is of our community?
No.
And you're going to give us 4 days?
No. Ma'am, this is part of the process that I was mentioning before, where we actually go through a series of different reviews. We start with our technical, we go through the stakeholders, and we also go out to the public. So it's a proven project management method of getting through these technical issues in a systematic manner. So the community group will have an opportunity to comment. They have that now. The public will have an opportunity to comment, and we'll hear all comments and consider them. So right now it's out for review with the steering committee. And the
You're saying steering committee and pointing this way. Does that mean these are the steering committee?
Carl represents the planning group on the steering committee.
And can the community put in inputs?
Yes, through the board.
Can the community put in inputs?
You can.
The
You
board
can provide.
doesn't always say what the community is thinking. So can the community put in inputs?
Yeah, you can put in inputs, but like I'm saying, we're going through these series of iterations of revisions. So right now we would like all comments on it by the March 17th. We'll make revisions to it, and then we'll go out for another round of review and comment. Then we'll get comments again. And so you can comment on it now, or you can wait and you can comment on it later.
So you're saying this is the first round of comments. There's going to be ongoing revisions.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
yeah, many more to come.
And how are we going to be notified of these timeframes?
If you go on the email newsletter, or if you want to just get regular notices, just let me know and you can be put on the list.
But right now, there's only 4 days before our board has to give you an input. And how can they get input from the community in the 4 days of time for them to make a decision?
We provided the board with this information 5 weeks ago.
Oh. Nice. 5 weeks ago, it was never brought up to the community?
Well, that's up to the board. We were asking the board primarily for them to provide us with input, because this was the first shot that we had. We drafted up the language just as staff. We wanted to get that group to review it first, then we go broader. And so it allows for the people that are, that are more familiar with the process to provide comments. Remember, we're dealing with the entire unincorporated area. So we've got a lot of people that want to provide comments.
So it should have been brought up at the last meeting within the 5 weeks. That way we'd have time to think about it.
Well, a lot of the community planning groups actually chose not to put it on their agenda and just discuss internally, and then put what they're planning on doing is putting the next version out to their membership for review.
For review.
Mm-hmm.
What's happened to all the past inputs that have been put in on the community character and so forth that have been going on for the last 10 years?
We have all that, and that's been the basis for a lot of what we've been working on.
In other words, we're repeating what we did before?
No, we're building off of it. If you look at the amount of goals and policies that were prepared previously, there wasn't a lot there. I mean, we had maybe a couple policies about community character, a couple about environmental resources, a few about grading or noise or things like that. Since we're establishing the hierarchy, the umbrella for all of our regulations, we need to make sure that it covers all the issues that we deal with on a daily basis. So we've had to go into more detail in some areas. We also want to make sure that we have the appropriate planning tools in place to enforce or to implement the types of goals and policies that the community wants to see. This is one of them. This is one of the things that the communities want us to be able to do, was to identify where the core of the communities were, to establish and maintain their community character. And this is one of the tools that allows us to do that.
Well, Devin, we discussed everything, right?
I think we discussed everything. We can move on to number 2. And I can be really quick on that.
Okay.
Part of the general plan update, we're looking at all of our planning group boundaries. And there had been a request historically to look at the boundary between Potrero and Tecate. And so this map right here shows a potential boundary change between the two communities. Basically what it's doing, and I can actually show you on this one right here, this is the current boundary between the two community planning areas. What we're looking at potentially doing, and we want the planning group's input on this, is dropping the line down. So it would actually be moving some of the areas into Tecate, into Potrero. This is based on the topography, so it seems like it makes sense, but we wanted to get the planning group's input on it. Yes, sir.
Now, does that change? Does that follow the ridge line?
Yeah. It more closely follows the ridge line. As you can see, we're actually following property lines, so it doesn't exactly follow the ridge line, but it more closely follows.
Barbara, would you get that over there, please?
And so the way that we're approaching these boundary adjustments is that both of the community groups that it affects have to agree to it. And if they do agree, then we'll go ahead and we'll make the change as part of the general plan update process. If there's any type of disagreement, then we just won't do it and we'll have to stay as it is.
I did talk to Mr. Wong, Jimmy Wong.
Yeah.
And I think Jan had it before me. What? The boundary adjustment, and I don't know how Jan feels or the members, but that's putting the boundary line. That's different than what this is now. That I got from Jimmy. He had it going. This is where the boundary is now, the blue, right?
The blue is where the boundary is. The red was a possibility. We can entertain additional possibilities.
Because this is different than what I got from Jim.
Okay, I don't know if that was old or...
12, 19, 07.
Yeah, it's probably old. I think this was the more recent one.
So you're saying change it down to the red dot?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's a topographic break between the two communities.
Is there any advantage for Potrero to do this? I mean, does Tecate care if they're gonna lose part of their community? Why would we do this?
Basically what we try to do is we try to use topography to divide our different communities because that's kind of what establishes the different areas. What it does is it allows you to more directly comment on the land use on that land. If a project comes in and they're applying for a permit on one of those parcels, it will come directly to you. If they're not in your community, they're going to go to Tecate, and unless you guys are kind of monitoring what's going on, you may not hear about it. So it allows you, that initial notice.
What does Tecate think about this?
We're going to be taking it to Tecate as well. I haven't gone to Tecate
So we
yet.
haven't heard from them yet?
We haven't heard from them. However, my understanding is that this was suggested several years ago, and that there wasn't a lot of opposition. They, both of the groups felt like this was something that should happen. And like I said, if there's any concern or resistance from the groups, then we just won't do it. It's not a really big issue for us. It's more of a measure that will just assist the groups with the business that they do on a daily basis.
Whose idea is this? I mean, did the county think this up, or was it suggested by someone?
My understanding is it was suggested a while back by the community planning groups several years ago.
The patrol?
I don't know which one. I'm sorry. I wasn't around at that point.
About 3 or 4 years ago, the Potrero Planning Group talked about this very thing because it puts it up on top of the ridge instead of having half of the cottage area on our side of the ridge.
Yeah, because you're most affected by the land uses that would occur up on that ridge. So that's the purpose of potentially paying into your area.
Question here. The exit from that ridge is on Emery Lane, and that's, or Emery Road and Emery Lane is not in Potrero by a long shot.
But it's gonna be, according to this, they want Emery Lane to be in Potrero. That's the point.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and like I'm saying, we're not necessarily advocating this, so we don't care. We don't want it or not want it. This was something that the community planning groups brought up before, and we're just providing it to them to consider. If you want to go with this line, you can. If you want to go with a different line, you can do that as well. It's really up to you. You can propose whatever you would like. If you want it to stay the same, you can do that as well.
Should we discuss this do we need to make a decision tonight?
You don't need to make a decision tonight. However, we would appreciate it if you provide us with guidance at least by your next meeting.
Next meeting.
At the next meeting.
Question over here, Mr. Udo.
It's up to the chair.
Yeah.
Could we invite you to attend the Tecate Chamber of Commerce meeting? They have changed their bylaws now. Potrero and Tecate are in the same Chamber of Commerce, and we're all members of that Chamber of Commerce, and we'd like to invite you to come and put that to the Tecate Chamber of Commerce. It's the second Monday of each month.
We just had our meeting on Monday.
Okay, yeah, send me an email or give me a call, and I'll see if I can schedule it.
That would be a month from now anyway.
Yeah, it'll be next month. It'll be the second one. But they did change their bylaws to include Potrero in their Chamber of Commerce, and we've all become members of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
One thing would be changing also is the voters.
That's correct.
Yes.
How many residents are in this?
Well, there's property owners, and probably these are the ownerships. I don't know if you have the same ownership that goes over multiple lots, but we can pull up that information if you're interested in looking at it.
I can give you a ballpark figure of how many are on Emery Lane and up to that point, and there's 56.
Robin?
Would it divide some people's property?
No.
Well, we drew the line along property the lot lines. Now, if there's somebody that owns multiple lots, it potentially could. We didn't actually go and pull up each one of those parcels and see who owned it.
As far as your knowledge is, you got this line from, what, the last couple of years ago, is that it?
No, we didn't, a line wasn't provided for us. There was a concept basically that said that the divide between the two communities should be along the ridge line. So we took that and we mapped it on basically topography, and we said, okay, how can we draw a line that closely follows the ridge line? And this is what we came up with. So if you want, we can go and we can put this on topography as well so you can look at it. And if you want to make changes to it, you're welcome to do that as well.
Just conceptual.
I had a question. What do you have a schedule for the Ducati sponsor group in the near future?
I think I do. I didn't bring my schedule with me, so I believe that I do have one this month. Maybe next month.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we're gonna put it on the agenda next meeting.
Okay.
But didn't you answer about the 17th? That's what I was gonna
No, as long, if you have a motion at the next meeting and then send that after the meeting, that's fine.
So it can go past the 17th.
Yeah, this is the 17th issue, but just that definition was the 17th. All right?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, the next agenda item would be number 9.3, and that's under formation of a circulation subcommittee. This is a subcommittee that other groups have. Sometimes they call it circulation, or Campo has a transportation. Some of them have traffic. And this will address the issue that Mr. Fowler had concerns with. This does maybe could be discussed and looked into on this subcommittee with the like a telephone post or pole maybe moved because of the dangerous location. Also, they look at stop signs. I know at one time they had a stop sign at Long Potrero Valley Road and Potrero Valley Road. They voted a stop sign there. This board did. So it does address some of the concerns that maybe speed or maybe circulation is getting roads finished or through. And I know that Terry has volunteered to chair that subcommittee, and now we will take volunteers to be on the subcommittee as community members and some of the board members, and also be on the committee. And so, any other volunteers or any other board, Kit will be on the board also. Tina will be on the board, and Barbara and Robin will be on the board. Christine will be on the board.
Committee.
Committee. Yeah, I know. Do you want to be on the committee?
I'd like to request that Val Feller get put on that committee, please.
Okay.
But I did have a question also.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, it's okay now. Is, what you're talking about is things pertaining to the school, you said stop signs, things like that. It was my understanding that you told Bell last month that it's not in the purview of the planning and land use. Did something change?
No, I said I understood his concerns, and I said I would get back to the county with Cheryl Jones and see if we could address that as some type of...
Did you not tell him to go to the highway about it?
Yeah, we can, this subcommittee can do that if we wish.
Yeah, Caltrans.
Okay.
Is this circulation, is this going to be the circulation for emergency egress Trail Valley Road through Harris Ranch Road? Is that part of this?
It could be, yes.
Then don't you think that you should consult the fire department or?
That could be discussed in the subcommittee.
Okay,
Yes.
well, I suggest you have someone from the fire department on that committee.
I just wanted to make a clarification. This committee is for all the community concerns that is not land use related. That way you have a voice.
Excuse me, you're doing a subcommittee for everything that's not in your purview?
No.
That's what he just said.
Nobody's wrong.
Oh.
I apologize.
Oh, I didn't say you were wrong, I just wanted to make sure I understood it right.
We'll make sure, yeah.
So maybe, if he doesn't understand it, that's why I don't understand it.
I didn't understand.
Well,
Okay.
as we work the subcommittee, and people, and the public is welcome to go to that subcommittee, we could discuss it there at that meeting.
The public will know, Carl, when...
More than 72 hours in advance, that's not a whole lot of notice for people that actually work.
Okay, it will be, you mean 3 days, you need longer than 3 days?
Yes, please. I didn't even know about the Tuesday meeting because I found out about it afterwards because
Okay.
I was gone for 3 days.
I want you to post it a week ahead of time,
All right, that'd be great, thank you.
Thank you.
please.
Or do you have the website yet? Could you post it on that?
We do not have a website.
I'd be more than happy to put it on our website for you.
On COP4P?
On COP4P. We'd be more than happy to
No,
put it on our
that's okay.
calendar.
That's okay. We would get our own.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're trying to heal things here. Citizens of the Trail.
Okay, Brenda, okay. Next item would be item 9.4. Now, I know this is a kind of issue that was put to rest last Saturday, or was it Friday? Friday. But I know a lot of our community members called me and talked to me about they want some type of symbolic gesture on this, and more the and you can lower your hand now because I'm still talking, Brenda.
Okay, as long as you remember that I do have this on there.
I know I got it.
Before you take a vote.
And the vote would be symbolic and a representation of what this board and what this community, their concerns were and will be, and I think it's a closure on this project. And what we have now is it is a vote, a symbolic vote, but what I brought up to this community, I don't know if I think I put some on the desk, and there's some more here. If any of the board members have not got this,
I'm gonna have to interrupt. Brian Baca called me and sent me a letter, made me specifically interrupt you. He told me I could interrupt you for the committee. I have the letter here from Brian Baca that said you cannot vote on this, it is a dead issue. He made, and I'm just letting you know, Carl, he made me aware, he called me, he emailed me, and I will share it with everybody. It is out of order.
Ma'am?
It is, no, against the Brown Act, it is against the I-1, the policy I-1, and
It's not against the.
he would like to
It
know
is,
that
according to this.
he cannot do this.
According to this, it says
It
Board of
is what it
Supervisors
is.
Policy I-1 states that planning groups may review and make recommendations on private lands.
It is
In terms
what
of the
it
former
is.
Blackwater
Yes,
project,
but the
no
community-
application currently exists for the planning, Ventura Planning Group to review or make recommendations
No.
upon. This is from the Chief of Regulatory Planning of DPLU.
No.
This is gonna go forward and if you.
Brian Baca will know that, because he told me to call one more.
Adopted by the group on the March 2nd meeting would be inconsistent with the board policy I-1. I think your board members need to know. Your board members need to know what it said.
Let him be in peace, Mr. Baca.
If you would listen and try to understand, you might change your mind.
Let's go.
This is for the community members to read through this. It's a synopsis of what Blackwater would try to do and why it's not consistent with our general plan and our sub-regional plan. And that's, and if the board would have done their job
They
and looked
did.
at the
They did their
sub-regional
job, they did
plan.
their job. If the recall had not
Open
happened,
space
everything would have
plan.
turned out
I'm sorry,
exactly as it
Can
is.
you be quiet for now?
No, you're
Can you be quiet?
From the sound test first, like they said.
This is totally outrageous behavior from your two.
Excuse me.
Well, then, be still, and you have your speaker slips.
And I have it up there, but you don't call on us. Okay.
Now, Terry,
Either
will you
way,
read
for the
the...
EIR, we wouldn't
There's
have.
nothing on this about the EIR. There's nothing on here about the EIR.
Well, the EIR is what's stopping.
No,
The only thing, yeah.
That's the only thing.
The only thing.
Go, Terry.
Get him on camera.
I would like to introduce a motion to reconsider and amend Form 534 dated December 14, 2006 and August 9, 2007 as it pertains to the Blackwater project MUP number P06-069, rezone number R06-016, excuse me? Thank you. And the disestablishment of the agricultural preserve number AP-06-004. So in light of the recent Harris fire, which destroyed thousands of acres and came to the edge of the project site, which amplified the site's importance as a wetland meadow and wildlife foraging area, and thereby multiplied the potential environmental damage that would be done by developing this site as a private military installation. In addition, there are modifications to the project plan, such as a fuel truck being added, the noise berms, sound walls extended from 24 feet through 40 feet height to mitigate the noise impacts. Also, the total area of impact, either direct or indirect, of the project is now estimated to be 402.5 acres. The incompleteness of the
Excuse me, that's not the same.
Board 534s, and last but not least is the precedent setting Potrero recall election. Considering this pertinent new information on the Blackwater project, does the Potrero Planning Group vote to reconsider? All in favor say aye. All opposed?
I object to that. Object also to that motion, the resolution you put out.
All opposed?
Yeah, yeah, resolution.
Let them do it. Makes them happy.
It's not put out, Judge.
Ma'am, can you just hold it down? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so the symbolic, that's a resolution, ma'am. That wasn't, that's a motion.
That's what you
on
read,
the
a resolution, correct?
No.
She said I'd
No,
like
I'm
to
sorry,
put out
it
a
was a motion to reconsider.
She made her motion to reconsider?
Yes.
Not a resolution?
No.
And now you're gonna do a resolution?
No, that, we
That's-
good?
That's what you put out here for us, for the community.
Well, I'm sorry that you can't.
Okay, wait.
Now, there's a letter that we did receive that we had in our hand. back in August of '07. And this letter came from County Council about the first 534 in December. And this letter says, from County Council to one of our lawyers, actually. Your letter to Mr. Tom Toski, clerk of the Board of Supervisors, regarding the Potrero Community Planning Group was forwarded to our office for a response. The county has been unable to find any document showing the appointment of Emil Sousa, Eric Berger, or Mike Rubalcaba.
Is this on the agenda at all?
To the Potrero Community Planning Group. Based on this information, we conclude that these persons are not appointed members. Any votes by these persons while improperly seated will not be considered valid in any action taken by the Potrero Community Planning Group. No further action by the Board of Supervisors to cure or correct this matter is required under Government Code Section 54960.1. So that, due to the 3 illegal members, Emil Sousa seconding that motion back in December, invalidated the December 534. That's just another footnote in the sad history here.
And Diane Jacobs also sent an email stating that they should not have done this, but they will.
Now we will go to. If you have not, this is just you could take this home and read it. This was a outline on the project and how this, and this is not from me, this is from, there's about 3 pages here. This is all from our general plan, element, our land use element, and our conservation elements and our open space element. All relevant to this project and how it, if they would actually looked at the general plan, they would know that this project would have never been allowed because the use they're allowing is not allowed by right, and they would have to go through all the policies and goals, and they wouldn't, as far as I'm concerned, they would never pass that because some of them goes totally against what they were asking for. For instance, this is under open space element. This ain't me, this is word for word.
I'm sorry, but where are you on the agenda? I'm lost. This is under 9.4? We added some to the agenda now.
This is 9.4.
This, a motion to reconsider the Blackwater project?
This is really not, it's all part of it, man. If you just would listen, you might learn something.
I got it. From you?
This is something about that mountain meadow. You kids all read this. I have a lot of the copies for people here. And as we're looking at the open space on page I-27, it says, recognize that mountain meadows constitute a significant component of cattle grazing operations and an area used for cattle grazing. Promote the retention of these meadows for grazing purposes when subdivisions or other development is proposed. Unless constrained by environmental resources, mountain meadows should be preserved for cattle grazing. That's just one little item out of all our elements, 11 elements. And if the last board would have looked at it at all, they would have recognized that this Blackwater project does not fit that mountain meadow in that area.
You voted on it, why don't we just move along?
Okay.
Just beating a dead horse here.
Okay, I was just, I mean.
Just move along.
Let's get off of this Blackwater thing.
Yes.
Okay. I have the resolution. Does all the members have a copy of the resolution?
Whereas, 1, the proposed Blackwater facility is inconsistent with San Diego County Council General Plan, and the proposed Blackwater facility is inconsistent with Potrero's sub-regional plan, which limits commercial businesses to the commercially zoned property in the county town. And the proposed Blackwater facility is inconsistent with Potrero's community character statement. And the proposed Blackwater facility has unmitigatable, I have a problem with that word, sorry, impacts to the Potrero's noise ordinance, generation of traffic, scale is not compatible with the building environment, and the density of the project is 6 times greater than is allowed by right, and the rezone is not in the interest of the public good, and the disestablishment of an agricultural preserve is not in the interest of the public good, and would threaten already diminishing farmland and decrease open space and corridors. And the proposed Blackwater facility would threaten the abundant flora and fauna, fragment and wildlife in their habitat, and the proposed Blackwater facility would cause the destruction of a mountain meadow, and the recent precedent-setting recall election of the previous pro-Blackwater planning group members by a 2-to-1 margin sent a clear message that the majority of Potrero residents do not want the proposed Blackwater facility to be located in Potrero. Now therefore, the Potrero Community Planning Group resolves that the Blackwater West Project, MUP number P06-069, rezone number R06-016, agricultural preserve number 06-004 be denied. I move that we, make the motion that we accept this resolution.
I second it.
Okay, let's just call for a roll call vote this time. Okay, there is some public comment. Is it open now? So if there's anyone, or let's get this over with.
Oh, no, who said vote? No, Mr. Baca advised me.
Wait, let him call on you.
Well, he did.
Oh,
He looked at
okay,
me.
sorry.
He nodded his head and then, Mr. Baca just wanted me to let you know that if you were to do that, what you just did, he wanted a video of that, please, from the board. We have our own, which we will provide. Mr. Baca wanted me to let you know personally in the meeting, please send Mr. Baca the copy of that resolution that you guys just voted on.
I'd be glad.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think that's an excellent resolution, and I think it's very, very useful, and I'm delighted that you people decided on this.
Brenda's got a comment.
Just wait. He knows I'm here. Give him a break.
I'd like to comment on it. Your resolution as written paints a picture of which is not. A lot of it is in false and innuendo statements and can be proven by looking at the original major use permit submission. This was never going to be a military training center. It was going to be a law enforcement training center. Well,
Excuse me.
I think you're wrong yourself. So I think you may have overstepped your bounds. I don't know, but time will tell.
I mean the very first sentence?
No, in general, there's a lot of false statements here about what they're going to be using down there. Their entire regime was to replace the existing buildings in an area that was cleared. They were never going to go out into the other areas that are already being used for cattle run. So I think you may find that this might backfire on you.
Okay, thank you. Because I got all that information from the county applicant's file down there. 402 what came straight from the file.
Make comments.
Okay, roll call vote.
I've got a slip there too.
Okay.
Are you just disregarding people for the slips? Okay, I got 3 points to make here. First off, on the past board, Mike, Incl, and Eric never voted on that particular thing. That was a vote from the 06.
Yeah.
That was never they were never part of that vote. So I don't know where they get the idea that it's negated because they never voted on that. That was in 06 of December.
Yep.
Because I was on that board. Secondly, Secondly, for you as a board group to try to rectify what occurred 2 years ago, there is no longer anything in the county as far as a application. So your resolution is for naught. I don't understand what you're doing a resolution for something that's not even in.
That makes me feel good.
And thirdly, as a board and as a community, if you wanted to make this a healing process, you screwed up, pal, because you are bringing things up again and again and again when it should have just been dropped because it. Carl, will you let me finish? You are making this. You are continuing this by this resolution or this mock resolution to keep this thing going. And that's what's not what we're supposed to do.
I think the community wanted us to do this.
Yes.
Yes, we did. It's a violation.
Okay. William has a first name, William? Brenda.
I'm sorry. I have a copy of a letter here sent from Brian Arbaca, who's the Chief of Regulatory Planning, and it was sent today. And it says this email is provided in response to your March 12, 2008 email to Planning Group Coordinator Cheryl Jones regarding item 9.4 on the Ventura Planning Group agenda for its March 13, 2008 meeting. As you know, item 9.4 includes a reconsideration of the Blackwater project and an amended Form 534. Chairman Meyer has been informed by our department such a form cannot be provided to the Ventura Planning Group. As you know, the P06-069 application has been withdrawn by the applicant. Thus, the file has been closed and cannot be augmented with any new documents or other materials. All county application processing activity on this project has ceased. Board of Supervisors Policy I-1 states that planning groups may review and make recommendations on private development applications. In terms of the former Blackwater project, no application currently exists for the Ventura Planning Group to review or make recommendations upon. Any recommendation adopted by the group at the March 13, 2008 meeting would be inconsistent with Board Policy I-1, have no material effect, and not change the official record of the P06-069 case. If you have any questions, please contact me or email or give me a call at the number. I request a copy of any video regarding this issue. Brian Arbaca, Chief Regulatory Planning.
Thank you for your comment. Mr. Baca was not aware of that letter from County Council. It was only carbon copy to, I think, our lawyers and a few other people. That's beside the point. We know this is symbolic. The community's asked me to do it, and we're going to do it. Next would be roll call vote would be William Crowley on the motion for the resolution.
To deny, correct?
Yes, this is denied.
Okay. Yes.
The next would be Tina.
Yes.
Kit.
Yes.
Jan Hedden.
Yes.
Terry Stevens.
Yes.
Janet Good.
Yes.
Mary Hall.
Yes.
Carl Meyer, yes. Janet Warren.
Yes.
Just for everyone's advice, we had lawyers, we've had, okay, let's drop it. So we had lawyers following us from the day one. The next agenda item was the tentative meeting would be April 10th, and the content would be on the boundaries, and that's all I have for right now. And we will never discuss Blackwater again.
Oh, yeah.
I move to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Opposed?